welcome back. Now, every year, the JDRF Walk brings in thousands of people. Every single one of them are looking for a world where type 1 diabetes no longer exists. A world where type 1 has become type none.
Look at that. Stacy Gopp, Brody Warwick, and Aaron Mendibles are here to tell us how we can help. Thank you, all three of you guys, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy, let's start with what is JDRF? I know it's an acronym.
JDRF was founded in 1970 originally as the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. We grew into the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and recently we have just shrunk that back down to 4 letters because we are the world's leading funder of type 1 diabetes research. It's not a children's disease. It is a human disease. It's a chronic disease. You don't outgrow it. There's no cure and there's no prevention. And so we've really kind of shied away from calling it a children's disease, a juvenile disease, and we're focusing on the idea that we are type 1 diabetes focused.
So I'm glad you said that, because I know there are a couple different kinds of diabetes, and many people don't understand the difference. So maybe kind of go further into type 1 diabetes and what that is.
So type 1 diabetes is called an autoimmune disease, and what that means is your body has attacked itself, and in this instance it has attacked the pancreas, and you've experienced essentially organ failure. You're no longer producing insulin. So type 1 diabetics, like the 2 fabulous people to my left here, are now insulin dependent for the rest of their lives. Think of it almost as being on life support. We need insulin to live. It's a hormone that breaks down the sugar in our blood system. So there's no pill you can take. There's no exercise you can or can't do. There was no way you could have gotten ahead of this or prevented it. It is part of their biology, and so there's no way to outgrow it yet.
Thank you for ending on that. Now, Brody, as we were saying, you are type 1, and we know that on a day-to-day basis, we were kind of talking about what you have to do. What do you do to manage your diabetes?
Well, I use a finger, like a needle, to prick my finger. It's about at least 6 times a day. And so if I'm high or am I eating, I have insulin from my insulin pump, and I use my test kit to test my blood sugar. So it'll tell me my blood sugar, and then I can put in my pump, and then I'm perfect.
Well, thank you for sharing your story and telling us about how it affects you.
And Aaron, tell us, Aaron, why do you support JDRF, and why do you think others should support JDRF?
Well, I support JDRF because I'm a type 1. I was diagnosed when I was 14, so I've had it a while. And, you know, people should support, because I tell people it's the silent disease. No one really talks about type 1 until it affects them. And then once it affects them, they have to dive into it. And so you don't know if you're going to get type 1 diabetes yet. I mean, there are tests that they're coming out with, but right now, you know, my children have been tested to see if they have the gene for type 1, and they don't. But, you know, the more research that we can do about this autoimmune disease, the more prevention we can have so people don't get it. But, you know, I tell people that you can have high blood sugars and lose limbs and eyes. For years you can have a high blood sugar, but you have 1 low blood sugar, you go into a seizure and you can die. And that's, you know, I mean, there's a family that just reached out to us who just found out their son was diagnosed. He's been transported and he's in a coma. His organs are shutting down, and it's like that. In an instant, you are all of a sudden thrown into the world of type 1 diabetes.
And this is exactly why we do things like this walk,
right?
To get that research, to get education. And now, Stacy, tell us, when is the walk, how we can register, tell us all about it.
Sure. So the walk is this Sunday, November 8th. It's at the University of Arizona on the mall. And the portion of the mall that we're going to be on is right there between Cherry Avenue and Old Main in front of the Student Union. And you can register by going to walk.jdrf.org. Type in your zip code and it'll find Tucson. You can register, you can show up at the walk and register and donate, and all of the proceeds go to JDRF research.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank all 3 of you for joining us. We're out of time, but I'm going to make sure our viewers have all of that information again.
Perfect.
And again, the JDRF Walk will take place this Sunday at the University of Arizona Mall, with registration starting at 9 a.m. For more details, call 327-9900 or visit jdrf.org.